Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Fort Collins. How is everyone? And welcome to our online folks, too. I don't know if I have this microphone in the right place, but hopefully you can hear me. We're glad to have everybody here this morning. We've got a great lineup today. Is there anybody who's new today, here for their first time? And you are? Mary from Chicago. I just talked to you. Well, welcome and enjoy your visit. So today our guest speaker is going to be Janice Ballard. You've probably been enjoying Janice's work on the art wall. She's written a beautiful book of poetry. Her talk today will include some of that. And we do have, I think, about 6 or 8 copies of her book in the office if you wish to purchase one. And those, she's donated those to Unity, so the proceeds will go to us. What other announcements? Oh, a big one. Today at noon, we have our annual meeting, and it's going to be held via Zoom. We talked about it and decided that it was a more even playing field if we didn't do part of it in person and part of it online. So we're doing the whole thing by Zoom, and you should have gotten an invitation with the Zoom link in it. If for some reason you didn't get that, let us know today and we'll make sure that you get it. And because at the end of the service today, we're going to move things around slightly, and we're going to try to get folks out of here in a timely fashion so you can go home and have some lunch before the noon meeting. And the other announcements are in your bulletin. If you ever have questions about any of that, let us know. If you're new and you want a welcome packet, Julie's usually in the lobby afterward and can get those to you. And I think that's it for the busyness. So maybe now we can all just take a moment, let go of the busyness, let yourself settle, soften, open your heart, let yourself feel the joy of being here together. And together we'll say our Unity opening. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world. Oh, and our musicians today, Leanne Ellen is filling in for Elle. Yeah, you don't just fill in. You are one of ours. And Gerald and our guests, Corey Carroll and Holly Gates. So enjoy.
That's your cue, guys. So when I heard, I'll try not to give anything away about Janice's talk, but when I heard this, I'll just say when I heard the subject matter, this song felt appropriate, and this is one of my originals. It's called Freedom. And just the idea of, hopefully you'll get the lyrics, the idea of setting yourself free allows for more creativity to flow through us. I'm setting myself free, giving myself permission to listen to my heart, tell me what I need. I'm setting myself free from the prison My mind had me convinced I could not leave. And I've made myself a promise to release the dark and setting sun mentality. I'm setting it in stone, this good intention, to use my mind to end my suffering. Freedom, I found freedom from the power my captors had over me. Freedom, I found freedom when I realized my greatest captor was me. And I hold the key to set me free. Now I'm letting go of letting fear control me, from keeping me from who I want to be, and finally allowing myself to be 100% unapologetically me. Freedom, I found freedom from the power my captors had over me. Freedom, I found freedom when I realized my greatest captor was me. And I hold the key to set me free. I can open my eyes and see it all differently. I can open my mind and know a new reality. When I open my heart, I am bursting with love, with life, and a sense of possibility, and I feel free. Freedom, I found freedom from the power my captors had over me. Freedom, I found freedom when I realized my greatest captor was me. And I hold the key to set me free. Free, free, free.
Today's reading is from the Essential Ernest Holmes. Consider the Spirit as a warm, pulsating, reciprocal thing. It presses against us. It flows through us. It is our intelligence. It is a great universal urge and surge. It is a warm, colorful thing. It is a beautiful thing. It cannot be put into words. You can only feel it. The law is the servant of the Spirit. Consider creation, whether it be the vast body of the cosmos or the suit of clothes or dress we have on, as some effect of the intelligence operating through law, and you have the whole proposition as clear as can be that there is a power in the universe which knows, a law which does, a creation which responds. Corresponds. Know that there is something more than law, an intelligence to which we may come for inspiration, for guidance, for direction, a power corresponding to us, a presence pressing against us, an animation flowing through us, a light within us.
So for our next song, I think some of you might be excited to know that we are going to sing Weave. and you're welcome to join in. I know we don't have hymnals anymore, but maybe you remember at least the chorus or more. So. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other, but we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melodies, each one tuning to a different key. But we are all playing one harmony in one great symphony. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. A moment ago, we did not know our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me meets the Christ in thee in one great family. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love.
And I would like to remind Leanne that she has a short story to tell you about this song.
Oh, yeah. So, I decided to, well, I wanted to make sure I got the author right when I sent the information to Julie for our bulletin. And then, what came up on Google was a way to get a hold of the author, the composer of the song, Rosemary Crow. And so I emailed her, and I said, I don't think I need your permission because it's in our hymnal, the Unity hymnal, to sing this song. Because when I did Google her, she did say in the section that I read something about asking permission to sing her song. And so I said, I don't think I need it because it's in our hymnal, but just want to let you know we're singing it. I've loved this song for decades. And she was so touched and really said, no, you don't need my permission, but thank you for reaching out. It means a lot to hear when people love the song. So, is that what you were talking about? Yeah.
Good morning. There we go. There we go. Thank you to the musicians and to Leanne for your reading this morning. Yes, my name is Janice Ballard, and my wife and I have been coming to Unity since October. We moved here from Santa Fe after being there for over 30 years. We found and showed up at Unity about a week after we arrived, and we immediately knew we belonged here pretty quickly. We started coming regularly, and we could feel the love and the acceptance that this community has offered us. We definitely appreciate all the music, all the speakers we've heard, the prayers and the spirit of this place. Shortly after we arrived, I heard Ann Hudgens say that she had heard in her early days at Unity that if you feel like a member, then you are a member. So we do, and so we are, which is a really nice feeling. We haven't been able to meet very many of you folks here in person, and of course, the people who come on FaceTime too, but we look forward to more opportunities to join this community, join in the work and spirit and socialization. So maybe I am here today to give a talk. We'll see how that goes. That's what I signed up for, although I think of today as a poetry reading. That makes me feel more comfortable, and I hope doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, poetry. But I want to offer you this morning, in addition to hearing some of the poems in my book, or I should just say that I wrote, I want to offer you some what I like to think of as brief meditations. Just time, if you choose, to close your eyes and be in the moment. And I will also share some of the backstory to the process of this writings and some of my inspiration and a little tiny bit about my faith. I'm here today because into the introduction of this book, I wrote these words. This book was published in September, just this September, so you'll know the backstory for this introduction. It says in there, in the introduction, this has been a time of transformation for many, and most certainly for me. If I listened well during this time to the still, small voice within, and captured the messages on these pages, you might be able to hear words of inspiration and elevation, truth and praise for the amazing and limitless world we are privileged to be living in. I offer these poems to you, dear reader, that they may encircle you with a profound sense of spirit. And that's why it was written. I accepted Anne's invitation to speak today because I wanted to be able to offer you some selected poems in the spirit in which they were inspired and written by me, the scribe. I know this isn't the Bible that I've written, but the word scribe makes way more sense to me as I continue this morning. I hope you'll hear that or get a sense of that. Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and my favorite book, Big Magic, describes in her book the story of a poet who would go out walking and receive the words to a poem while she was out walking. Then she'd run home through the woods to get it down on paper. More specifically, Elizabeth Gilbert said in her book that the poet ran like hell through the woods to capture the poem on paper, because her poems came to her so fast that she went and wrote it from the end back to the beginning, and then she had to retranscribe it. That's the only way she could remember it. Nothing so dramatic for me. But I described the process of writing this book in a poem called Word by Word. I heard it word by word, but no pen or paper handy. I worried all the way home that I wouldn't remember the words that sounded perfect and wrote themselves in the air. They were carried on the wind and the wings of inspiration. An inner voice proclaimed that they were mine if I could catch them. The poet's words delivered on the wind and warmed by the sun, grace from somewhere outside of myself, transformed by my hands from wind to paper surely something bigger than me. Where does inspiration live? What does she look like? If I could see her coming or knew when she would deliver the poem, the short story, the path to a piece of artwork, I could be better prepared. Out on a long walk in the early light, catching few sleepy extra moments, bathing in a pool of water, talking on the phone, or watching a movie, it comes out of nowhere, or out of somewhere so magnificent, a place so eloquent with words and images, so full of richness and melody, dropping the lines or the images one at a time. I step aside. I bow to the divine intervention, awakening from my slumberous state of being in the middle time, between works of rhyme or fiction, images and ideas. I will be ready next time, excuse me, or I will catch only what I can from the fleeting, pulsating, purely sweet light of the gift that seeks me. I'd like to think that something of what I read today is a gift that I share with you, although I am satisfied to recognize that this collection of poems has most certainly been a gift to me. It has gifted me with some courage, some confidence, with some passion and purpose in a much different way than my life before this book came into being. Better, maybe, but different. It opened a channel. I recently finished a course called Practical Mysticism, and this process of writing these words was an opening to a deeper and more mystical experience than I'd ever had before. Throughout the course, we students and teachers all recognize the ways that each and every one of us is a mystic, that each and every one of us has access to the divine, and every one of us, I venture to say, is seeking wholeness. We've all had some moments of spiritual ecstasy, or maybe not like Teresa of Avila or John of the Cross, but definitely sublime moments of being and connecting. In this poem, The Light Around Us, I speak of those experiences. I climbed the Kiva ladder, rung by rung, year after year, emerging one day into the light, on what seemed to be the apex of my journey, yet turned out to be one of many more awakenings. We are new every minute, infinite possibilities for going beyond each perceived apex, into greater and greater light. Everywhere it shines, in all things it shines, before each step it shines, calling us to life, to be the light. Today is a big fat day of gratitude. That's a title for a poem that I have on my to-do list. It came to me one day, and I know I'll get to it because it resonates with me. It has so much potential to capture my long list of amazing gifts that life, with a capital L, has given to me. In addition to my immense gratitude for this community and for finding this community, I'm also grateful that I was able to overcome my imposter syndrome today. For me, that means I thought for a while, I have nothing to offer this gathering. I'm not a speaker. I'm not a poet, I even said to myself. I never think of myself that way. Poetry might not be your cup of tea, but it certainly wasn't mine. I taught a few little formulas for haiku and cinquain when I was teaching elementary school, but the great poets or the minor poets were never on my nightstand or on my bookshelves. I never took any poetry classes or wrote any poems in my diaries or journals, no limericks or versions of Roses Are Red and Violets Are Blue. Nothing like that. But these poems showed up anyway. So sometimes I feel less like a poet and more like a channel. And I really believe that's what all poets and writers are. All artists and creators, channels, if they honor the divine. I offer you this poem called Light Bearers. It was inspired by a talk at my church, the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, by our senior minister, Reverend Ann Ray. She began the talk by calling the congregation audacious, dynamic light bearers. And initially that word struck me as being incongruent, but I thought about it some more. And I took notice, that it was an opportunity to think about our faith as disregarding the status quo and the other conventions of thought that I was used to following. I'm not pointing any fingers out there, but I imagine that many of you gathered here, in person or on FaceTime, have audacious faith. Not rebels, unless that's what you want to be, but a willingness to stand in the world of 2022 and into the future with a powerful and expanding faith in the power of our oneness. So, light bearers, live more fully, she said, audacious, dynamic light bearers that you are and always have been. The time is now. The day is here. The moment has arrived. Transformation stands boldly before you, beckoning you to open doors and windows long shuttered and bolted by doubts and fears. Ride on the waves that take us out to sea, and know that you are one with every drop in the ocean, every molecule of sky and air, each current of wind that encircles you with the spirit of truth and wisdom. Fear does not live in these environs, this domain of reality calling us. A union that cannot be divided, a purpose unlimited and infinite. Writing poetry began for me in the spring of 2020, and you all know what was happening during that time. Many of us were newly quarantined and looking for ways to fill up our lives with meaningful stay-at-home activities. I'd always been a daily walker, but it changed. Excuse me. It became more of a passion for me and a satisfying remedy for being homebound. I walked more intentionally down my neighborhood trails, looking more carefully at the plant life and the lizards and the rabbits. I was listening to birds with a more attuned ear and feeling gratitude for the beauty surrounding me. When this poem filled my head, I read about that poet, previously referred to in Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, but I wasn't a poet. And I didn't write poetry, and there it was. And yes, I hightailed it home as fast as I could to write down Pandemic Bird Song. The first. Excuse me. Do you think the birds know why we stay inside? Do they notice that we walk, not drive? We meander, not rush. We stop to talk to our neighbors for a longer time, maintaining our 6-foot distance. Do the birds look in our windows and wonder why we sit and talk to each other more, working on puzzles and making art, creating dance parties and online celebrations, cooking thoughtful meals and lingering at the table longer, with no place to go but deeper into ourselves and our homes? Do the birds know that we listen to their pleasing songs with renewed interest or new interest, marveling over and over again at the sweet melodies that hardly caught our attention before? Do they see us watching them feed their babies in their carefully crafted and organic nests, remembering our own childhood or parenthood, hearing us pledge to stay in this conscious and deliberate way of living life fully, with attention and intention? So I knew at the beginning of this pandemic that that's what we were called to do. Rumi, the 12th century poet, wrote these words that you'll see in your bulletin. Please, universal soul, practice some song or something through me. I didn't discover this line from Rumi until fairly recently, yet I know that on some level of intention, I articulated a deep desire to be creative for a long time. I always loved the idea of creating art and writing, yet I didn't allow myself to be available for inspiration. Yes, I had a busy career, a family, social commitments, life's obligations, but it wasn't just that. It was me. I wasn't allowing myself the freedom to articulate through artistic pursuits my relationship to the divine. I didn't make space or time for the still small voice inside of me to guide me and inspire me, to show me the way to my freedom. For those of you who don't have much experience or proclivity toward poetry, I hope that by hearing these words, you can find a few seconds or more of resonance with something that rings true for you or calls out to you to notice a still small voice inside of you. And for those who consider themselves aesthetes, those who appreciate poetry and other art, may you enjoy these words and not compare me to Rumi or Kabir, although I like to think that our inspiration came from the same place. For me, poetry is better heard than read. I like to think of it as the lyrics of a song that would lose much of their power and pleasure if we only read the words to ourselves. So as I continue, I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes. I'm going to give a little breathing space to some of these poems for deeper receptivity. This poem is called Endless Jewels. In my thoughts, the world was small, limited by trivial details of what if, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Vast reaches I cannot fathom as I try to squeeze the infinite into a grain of sand, forgetting the limitless boundaries of its domain. I stumble into moments of sadness where darkness threatens to engulf me, and then gratitude leads me back to the light. Light brilliant, I reach higher, surpassing other moments of hope, so that I may remember that life is infinite. Intention unbridled, I create a mosaic of life. My words, my thought, and my actions deliberate, conscious. All that is possible from eons and eons back and forth spill out like endless jewels from the hand of the divine. No limits, my breath says. No limits, my heart beats. No limits, I repeat. The word the word limitless showed up so many times in this book, at least it did in the draft version. And as I worked through the editing process, I removed it several times because I felt like a broken record. And I worried that it would take away my credibility if I kept saying the same words over and over again. I hope I managed to find some suitable synonyms for the word while maintaining the integrity of the truth I was writing. I do believe and embrace the limitlessness of spirit, of creation, of source, of life. And in the poem Qualities, I attempted to capture the power of spirit and the power of our oneness. Absolute, all that there is and all that I am, here in this moment and all moments beyond eternity. Unimaginable, mystical proportions of perfection, vast and consummate, enveloping an embrace of the peace of oneness. Receptive, receptive to the new each moment, accepting our thoughts, the seeds of change and action, open-heartedly spilling effects with sheer voluminous joy in giving, listening to billions of sown ruminations, tuning all to the symphony of form and oneness. Divine wisdom, a sacred trust, attuned and one with the natural world, all life, realization of the power within and without, the brilliant illumination of the open heart, reality brushed with truth, dappled with points of light, fashioning a portrait of oneness. Unlimited, unlimited and infinite, irrepressible, orchestrating the planets and the stars, each atom in perfect motion, each form filling the spaces of the one life, the one presence. I am absolute, receptive, divine wisdom, unlimited oneness. In the book, The Essential Ernest Holmes is quoted as saying, "We walk by falling forward." Such a simple concept, yet it took my breath away when I first read it. 2.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with some health issues, and that was the beginning of a new path for me, as often it is for others. Those kinds of life events can awaken us to new ways of being, and it became clear to me that I needed to walk through life differently, with less control and more trust, with less fear, more joy, less hatred, more love, less judgment, and more compassion. I recognized that to survive and thrive, I would need to put one foot in front of the other, one new day at a time. And I began to recognize through prayer and meditation that I am new every moment, and that the past has its place. Yet I'm still falling forward. I walk by falling forward, a trust fall into the arms of life. I move forward, new steps each new moment. I fall forward, aligned, receptive, and joyful with each step. Falling in love, embracing the perfect patterns of the divine presence. I walk, I run, arms wide open. I twirl through spaces once filled with discord and fear. Reality shifts as I move, emboldened by a deep sense of oneness and power. Movement with eyes and mind wide open, expanses before me. I see present and future as limitless, calling me to complete abandon again and again and again. Like many of you, I have searched for most of my life for purpose, for my calling, as we called it in those formative years in Catholic school. I believe I heard the call many times. I tried out religious life as a Catholic nun, worked as a therapist, a UCC children and youth minister, and as an educator in many ways over 30 years. All of those experiences contributed to the person I am today, and I hope to the persons and systems I worked in. And although the world around us has millions of opportunities for service, I seek guidance in my daily meditation to lead me to the next and the next and the next way that serves creation. I want my service to be more than doing, more than just showing up. I want what Ram Dass said, the kind of service which is where you breathe, where you are the breath of God, where you are serving out the collective compassionate heart, where it isn't me doing for you, it is that I have surrendered into that force in the universe which heals, and I'm just part of the healing thing. Striving to make faith a verb is the theme of this next poem, ironically called Faith is a Verb. I am faithing, I said, waving my faith wand at the circumstances and events around me. How else will I find my oneness? How else will I transform the world? The injustice, the abominations, the wounded and forsaken deserve my unwavering commitment. If I don't believe, find faith, how will I go on? How will I go on? I have limped along, sat immobile, receding into the shadows, failing to question, confront, risk, or make demands for change. It's time for change, I cry out. It's time for radical change, I write. It's time for equality and transformation, I sing. It's time. My heart opens to and remains open to the feelings and actions that deserve my wholehearted conviction. Let me be unwavering, willing and able, an instrument for all that is good. I know my faith requires of me more than just boots on the ground. In no way do I mean to minimize the tremendous value of giving of our time and our resources. For me, I know that the spirit in which I live, the attitudes in which I embrace, is something I have to tend to relentlessly. I work at staying wide open to divine love, to unconditional acceptance and compassion for myself and others. While Google tells me that the English language has only one word for love, Hindu has 96, and the Asian Persian has 80. So I sat down one day to write what little I understood about love, and I offer you this final poem. But before I do that, I want to thank Ann Hudgens, who said she'd be online today, for inviting me to speak, and thank you to all of you near and far for your gracious presence here. When I decided to publish this book, I wanted it to be an act of service. I wanted to be able to share with folks the words on these pages. This opportunity is a blessing to me, and it is a big fat day of gratitude. I just changed my mind. I have two poems about love, but I think I'll read this one. It's called Not Just Another Love Poem. It has all been said, words and phrases extolling the desire for it, the advice to cherish it, warnings to not reject it, proposals on how to live and die for it, romantic love, playful love, enduring obsessive agape, thousands of years of attempting to divine, define and praise its virtues. But that's just not enough for me right now. I want to become it, love. Full-fledged, driving force, breaking open, weathering every kind of storm, love. The sustaining, penetrating, and powerful, omnipotent and omnipresent love. Free of all armor, I want to be clothed in it, flowing and breathing, sheer fabric spun with leaves stirring on the gentle breeze, adorned with playful shadows, luminescent in the silent light of each sunrise and sunset, mastering it, vibrating with it at the deepest level. So I offer you or invite you to take a few moments to think about the power of our love here, the love you share, the love you receive. And so be it.
Janice, you might want to turn around and look. There's a bunch of people standing up for you. So. Never mind. That was beautiful. So we kind of already had a bit of a silent meditation. So you are welcome to join in on our thoughts, our prayers. And the words are in your bulletin, or they should be. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is everywhere. And every thought's indeed a prayer. And then again, please join in on May the Blessings, which is also in your bulletin. May the blessings of God rest upon me. May God's peace abide in me. May God's presence illuminate my heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon us. May God's peace abide in us. May God's presence illuminate our hearts now and forevermore. Now and forevermore. Now and forevermore.
So this is the point during our service where we take a moment for gratitude and we say our prosperity blessing together. We haven't been passing baskets since we reopened after COVID, but there are baskets here by the piano and in the lobby if you'd like to leave some sign of your support. So if you can join me in our prosperity blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. So here's where we're going to do something a little different because the two Leannes have cooked it up. So we have a last special music song that we want to do, but we'd like to do our prayer for protection now. What did you envision?
So what I was thinking, so we're going to be sharing with you the song Shower the People, James Taylor. Again, sing along if you know it. And I was thinking that toward the end, I would suggest we get up, circle up, and say the power of or the prayer for protection while standing. And at the very end of the song, we'll just sing, shower the people you love with love, show them the way that you feel, about 150 times, or maybe a little less. But, and during that time, and I'll tell you when that is, if you need that, or even if you don't need that, I'll tell you when that is. And I thought it'd be kind of nice for us to get up and look at each other in the eye and shower each other with love while we do that. How does that sound?
Good, but I'm already confused.
Okay, well,
So
I'll give you more instructions later.
You're
How's
in
that?
charge right now.
Okay. Oh, boy. Musicians, please join me. And so, yeah, I'll let you know when it's time to circle up. It'll be during our song. No. That's a good idea, though.
I don't usually sing this, but here we go. You can play the game, you can act out the part. You know it wasn't written for you. But tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool? Oh, one thing can lead to another, doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Do as I say, oh, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. And what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone? Won't you tell somebody the way that you feel? Can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel always getting the grease. Oh, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna get much better if you only will.
Yeah, this is, you got it. Shower the people you love with love.
Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Let it shine.
Shower the people you love with love.
Show
them the way that you feel. One more. Shower the people you love with love.
Show them the way that you feel.
Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. And together we'll say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Swell. And we'll sing together our peace song. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our creator, family all are we. As we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day, and go home and tune in to the meeting.
The audience was certainly involved in our last. What's that? So the audience was certainly involved in our last.